Hello, and welcome to my rules explanation slash playthrough for Dominion Online. Dominion is kind of the granddaddy of deck building games, and we've done deck building games before. We did Legendary. And this one's a little different, but it's also got more in common with Legendary than just being a deck builder. You also need to have internet access in order to play Dominion Online, as the name implies. This is a browser-based game, so it's not a standalone application. So it's available on anything that you can browse the internet with. How it's going to look and how easy the interface is going to be on a mobile device, I can't attest to. Well, I can't. I played it. I used to play it on my iPad, and it was all right on the iPad. I constantly had a tab open with it. That was the old iteration. I don't think the new iteration is that much different. So let's go ahead and get started. When you come into Dominion Online, which is located at dominion.games, by the way, and I'll have that in the description of the video, if you want to go play it. You have all these options. The only options that you really need to worry about when you first start are matching or new table, if you want to create a new table for people. We are going to play against robots. We're going to go and play against robots, and then after we play a game, we'll talk about what these things do when you have more of an idea of what's going on with it. So we're going to play against one robot. Bing. So the Dominion is a deck building game, and as it says here, your starting cards are 3 estate cards and 7 copper cards. That's true for all players. And we're playing with the base game. And that might change if you play with some of the different expansions, how the starting cards work out. You might start with different treasure types or different victory types. But for the base game, which is the free version of Dominion Online, you'll always start with 3 victory cards that are estates and 7 treasure cards that are coppers. And this is our sort of space down here. This is Lord Rattington's hand up here. This is the communal card pool, and so is this. These will always be the same. No matter what these 10 cards are, these will always be the same. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the iconography that we can just see from here. So with our treasure cards, they're yellow. We can see this yellow band, so we can figure out from that the copper, silver, and gold, these are all treasure cards. And the value depicted here and also echoed up here is how much sort of buying power that card is worth. So coppers are worth 1, silvers are worth 2, golds are worth 3. Now you'll notice that there is also a price in the lower left-hand corner, and that's true for all of these cards. That price is how much gold, like how many coins, what value of treasure you have to pay in order to purchase that card to go into your deck. So the idea of a deck building game is you start out with a very basic deck, and you're going to be accruing cards from up here and from over here to make your deck stronger, to make your hand stronger, so you can get more powerful cards worth more points and win the game. So treasure cards, pretty simple stuff. You also start with a victory card, which has this symbol, the shield, and anytime you see this shield, this crest, that means points, and that's what's going to tally at the end of the game. So the estate is worth 1 point at the end of the game. It costs 2 money in-game. And the duchy is worth 3 points in-game, costs 5 money, and the province is worth 6 points in-game and costs 8 money. That's the good one. That's the one you want. Now you'll notice that there's also an additional type of victory card over here in our tableau called the gardens that costs 4 money, and let's go ahead and take a look at what that is. This is worth 1 point per 10 cards you have, rounding to frown. So let's say at the end of the game you have 30 cards. This card, this gardens, is worth 3 points, 3 victory points at that point. I personally like going down the garden path as a strategy. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what happens on your turn. You're going to have a draw pile, which will be face down, and a discard pile, which will be face up. You're going to shuffle your cards together, and you will draw 5 cards into your hand. So it'll be 5 of these 10 cards. You'll play any actions, which are white bordered cards, or possibly blue bordered cards. You'll play any actions that will get you more things. We'll talk about the actions in a second. And then you'll play your treasure cards and you'll buy new cards. Each turn, you are allowed 1 action by default and 1 buy by default. Now, it's possible, like the festival, will give you an additional 2 actions and an additional buy, as well as an additional 2 money towards your purchases. So let's go ahead briefly, just go through these. There's 2 more things we didn't explain. One of them we'll explain later. The moat, we'll explain it when we get there. Okay, so let's talk about the little cheapies. Our seller gives you an additional action, lets you discard any number of cards, and then draw that money. So this could be handy to clear your hand out of victory cards and enable you to draw more cards, hopefully more treasure cards or another action card. The chapel lets you trash up to 4 cards from your hand. Now, trash is different from discarding. Discarding means it's going to go in your discard pile, and once your draw pile is empty, you'll take your discard pile, shuffle it all up, and start drawing from that. Trash means permanently get out of your sort of cycle. It's no longer in your ecosystem. The moat. Alright, so the moat, you'll notice, is blue and is an action and a reaction. So it allows you to draw 2 more cards. When another player plays an attack card, you may first reveal this from your hand to be unaffected by the attack. And you'll see that there are autoplay options. So if, and we're going to go ahead and turn it to always reveal, because there's not going to be a time where we're going to want somebody's attack to go through to us. This game. Alright, let's look at the Harbinger. You get another card, you get another action, you get to look through your discard pile and put a card from it onto your deck. Now this is important. This sort of order in which these things resolve is important. You'll draw a card before you resolve this action. So you won't be able to look through your discard pile, find your valuable card, put it on top of your deck, and then carry out your draw action. So keep that in mind. Gardens we talked about. 1 point per 10 cards. The throne room, you can play an action card from your hand twice. It's pretty self-explanatory. The festival we talked about, an additional 2 actions, an additional buy action, and an additional 2 coins worth of treasure. The laboratory gets you 2 cards and an action. The mine, you can trash a treasure from your hand, so get rid of it permanently. Then you can gain a treasure to your hand, costing up to 3 more than it. Now this is significant because when you do buy actions, usually the purchased cards go into your discard pile. The mine, I can trash a copper and then get a silver directly into my hand. So I'm upgrading that treasure card immediately this turn. It's pretty neat. And last but not least is the witch. So, the witch is an attack. You get to draw 2 cards, and each other player gains a curse. Curses are over here. They're worth -1 point at the end of the game for each curse that you have. And remember that you do have a defense against the curses. You can moat against them. So if Lord Rattington plays a witch and I have a moat in my hand, I can reveal the moat so I don't have to get a curse. Or the chapel will let you trash up to 4 cards from your hand. The issue timing-wise with the chapel, of course, is that it has to be in your hand at the same time as the curse cards in order to be useful. So, those are all the cards. That's it, pretty much, for rules explanation for Dominion. Let's go ahead and get started. So they played 4 cards, and they got a chapel. So we will play our 4 cards. And we will take, I kind of want to take the Harbinger. Oh, let's talk about what cues the end game, what triggers the end of the game. When the province deck is empty, or when 3 of the other decks are empty, then the game is over. So that's the timer. 4, I kind of want the Harbinger because I like having extra actions available. So we'll take her. He bought a silver. We will play our treasures. We will play... We'll get another one. Why not? See, in this hand we got 2 in 1. So that's pretty neat. So we'll play 1, which gets us a draw. And we got a copper. And another action. And I get to look through my discard pile. Oh, that's bad timing. There's nothing in my discard pile. Okay, so we'll play those 4, and we'll buy... Oh no. I want a festival. We'll get a silver. Alright. Now, we could play our treasures independently, individually like that, but it's much easier to just play the autoplay. Press the autoplay. Alright, so we have 3. Looks like they've gotten a moat. You can tell how many cards are left, so we'll get a moat, since they took a moat. And they just played the moat right there. We will play all of our cards. Yay! And festival or a laboratory? We take a festival because we're going to go a garden route. And we want as many cards as possible with the garden route. Which means we're probably not going to go the mine route or the chapel because we don't want to get rid of cards. We might go the cellar route though. Okay. So now, remember, we start with 1 action and 1 buy. And if we play the moat, that's going to be the only action we'll be able to play. But if we play the Harbinger, she'll give us another action which we can then use to play the moat. So we'll play her. We can top deck. So this is all the cards we have in our discard pile right now. So we're going to go ahead and top deck the festival, which means puts the festival on top. And then we're going to play Harbinger again, and we're going to top deck our silver. And we'll play the festival. We'll play the moat. And we're good. Even though we have 1 action left, we don't have any other action cards, but we're all right. So we have 2 buy actions and 6 money. So we could either get a gold and a copper, which I'm tempted to do. We could get a garden and a cellar, which I'm also tempted to do. Remember, the cellar lets you discard any number of cards and then draw that many back up. No, let's go gold and copper. Copper's always cost 0 money. So if you're ever at a point where you haven't drawn any treasure, that's okay. Alright. We still don't have a discard pile, so the Harbinger is not the most useful of cards. But we'll play these guys. We got 5 money. So we could take a witch, which I'm not that keen to do. Another festival. Yeah, I like the festival. I like that extra buy is nice. Alright. Harbinger. So for next turn, which one of these do I want to be on top of the deck? And I'm going to say Festival, because I only have 3 cards left in my draw pile. Putting the Harbinger on top is not going to do me any good because I'm not going to have a discard pile. So let's put the Festival on top. Make sure I have that in my next hand. And then I have 6 money. So I'm going to spend that 6 money to take a gold. We got 2 festivals. Oh, which kind of isn't great because I don't have any other action cards. So I'm left with 3 actions. It could have been better. But I do have 3 buys and 6 money. So I'm going to take a garden, a cellar, and a copper. And they just took the first province, the second province. When did they take another Oh, they took a province last turn. I gotta be wary of that. So luckily, we're getting a good track. We're keeping track of how many victory points each player has. Unfortunately, I need to step up the game a little bit here. Okay. We'll do that, and we will top deck the festival again. And we will play all of our cards, and we'll take another... We'll take a garden. I don't like to do it because that was so much money. I'm going to take another province. Daggum! Okay, let's play the festival. And we'll play the Harbinger. And we'll play the moat. Cool. Play this. So we have 10 money. So we're definitely going to take a province. And we have 2 money left. And we're going to take another seller, which we haven't actually seen in action yet. Actually. I have 7 money and 2 buys next time. Dang it, I got another province. Okay, let's just play all of our money. Well, we could get a province, or we could get 2 gardens. I don't know how many cards I have. Let's find out. When I buy the garden... Oh, I have less than 30. That's okay. Hopefully, I can keep... let's top deck the festival. And we'll get another garden. Now, when we get up to 30, each of those gardens that I've purchased so far will boost up to 3 points each, which will be nice. I don't have any draw actions. Okay, we'll play that. We'll play the seller, and we will discard both of the estates and the copper. Okay, that's basically the same thing. All right. 3 money. We will get a silver and a copper because we had 2 buys. Ugh, another province. All right. We will discard all of those coppers and hope that we did get an action. All right, and next time we will want the festival on top because that's what we do repeatedly. We have 6 money. We're going to take a garden. Ugh. All right. Of course, I don't have any other. All right, I can take a province and a copper. Oh, it's getting close. Okay, let's play the festival first. We'll play the moat so we can get some more cards, which was not very useful. We'll take the gardens and a copper. And we see that pushed us up to 36 points. It's not enough. It's not enough. We'll take this estate. 4. They took my last garden. Rude. We'll take a duchy. I hope that they can't get that we'll certainly not. We are certainly not going to be able to get the province. Let's top deck the Harbinger. I have 3. Take a silver and a copper. Alright, 2, 4. Harbinger. I don't care about any of these things, probably. Let's top deck that gold. 8 money. Ooh. Ooh, this should do it. Blue-doo-doo-doop. The game is ended. Because we took the last province. If we had finished out the garden, the duchy, and the estate, those were the closest, it looks like, then that would have also triggered it. Also, getting rid of all the curses would trigger it. But nobody took a witch. So I win! Yay! I very rarely win. Now the game will end automatically when this happens. And it's possible that there might be an uneven number of turns in that case. One player might have had an extra turn, an additional turn. Keep that in mind. And then there's a scoring breakdown here. So I had 7 of the gardens, and I had 41 cards. So each of my gardens was worth 4 points each, which is pretty neat. And this one had 5 of the provinces, which are worth 6 each, but they were also twice as expensive as the gardens. So, you know, make of that what you will. So yeah, that is Dominion. If we come back here, This is with the base. So playing with the base is free. Playing with expansion requires a subscription. Now, what's weird is they call it a subscription, but it's not automatically recurring, which I feel is in the name of a subscription, that it has to be automatically recurring. But what do I know? I'm just a native speaker of English. So you can get them for these amounts of euros. Now, what it'll do here, it shows you all of the expansions that might have cards in the game online. And according to BGG, there are 40 expansions to Dominion. Now, those aren't like box expansions. Some of them are individual promos, like you can see here. And but these are the different boxed expansions. Seaside, Alchemy, Prosperity, Cornucopia, Hinterlands, my favorite, Dark Ages, because it has my favorite card of all time, Rats. When you play a rat, you get a rat, which is pretty fun, I think. Guilds, Adventures, Empires, or the most recent one, Nocturne, which I haven't seen. I don't know anything about. But you can see that there are new card colors that come out. Things get pretty nutsy. You get new kinds of victory cards. You get new kinds of treasure cards. So many new kinds of treasure cards in Prosperity, which makes sense. This has these things, which are duration. So they affect more than one turn. There's the Sea Hag, who I, of course, am drawn to, because who wouldn't be drawn to a Sea Hag? So you can play with, these are all the base cards. We did, which ones did we have? Which ones didn't we have? We didn't have the Artisan, who lets you gain a card to your hand, costing up to 5. And put a card from your hand onto your deck. That's pretty useful. The Bandit is another attack, which you can, remember, repel with the moat. The Bureaucrat lets you do some stuff with money. The Militia is another attack. The Market is a really good card. It gets you a card, an action, a buy, and a coin. The Village is a cheap sort of market. It gets you a card and 2 actions. That's pretty neat. The Sentry lets you sort of sort through your deck. So if you want to play with expansion cards, but you haven't purchased a subscription, then you can come to matching. You can check wait for expansions, start a search, and it puts you in this line in the queue to be matched up with players starting games, creating tables, and since you're waiting for the expansions, it'll wait until you're able to get into a game with an expansion. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump out of the queue, though, because we don't want to start a game. If you want to play not with robots, but with real people, you can create your own table. You can see what tables are open right now, which is just this one. Now, chances are this table that's open isn't going to have any of the expansions, which is why it's still available. And that'll do it. That's Dominion Online. Again, dominion.games. You can play whenever you want. Luckily, it's frequented by people from multiple continents, so there's not like a time when most people are asleep, so nobody's playing. So you can always find someone to play, and you can always play against the robots, which is fun. So I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.